Hello, I'm Cecilia. Welcome back to The Classic at Heart. I'm really glad you're here. I wanted today to be able to share with you the 3 things that I learned from the experts about hair that truly made a difference. I spent a lot of time experimenting with products recommended that we're guaranteed to perform results, products that some of the experts swore by, some tried and trues, some favorites by people. And what it comes down to is what works for one person doesn't always work for the other, although there are sometimes some really good tips out there for hair care that are worth sharing and worth hearing about. And you might know some of these already. You might already have some of these in practice. Maybe you don't. So I wanted to start there. Where I wanted to start first is I wanted to start with brushing. Believe it or not, there's even a technique in brushing. It really makes a difference in your hair, especially as we tend to get a little bit older. Our hair tends to get a little more fragile, usually has a little less oil production through the hair, therefore it gets a little thinner, a little more, I think, like I said, fragile. It breaks easier, and so we have to be a lot more gentle with it. It's easy to forget, as the years go on, oh, my hair is changing. I'm sure we realize we're changing, our body's changing. Sometimes we don't realize our hair has really changed in as far as, the integrity of it or the delicateness of it. So anyhow, what I wanted to show you first was a couple of my favorite brushes. I'll reach for them right here. And this guy right here. This one is one of my favorite. I don't know if you can see it very well. It's lightweight, but the material is wood. It's by, I think it says the green something. I really can't see here, but I will absolutely include a link if you're interested in it. But what I like about this brush is the fact that the bristles on it are not necessarily bristles. I don't know if they're wood, but they're not those typical plastic thin bristles. They absolutely don't have those little round pins that some brushes have. And I found that when the brushes with the little round pins, they tend to pull your hair, pull mine. And so what I wanted to show you was in brushing hair, as opposed to, for years, I think, I'm probably not alone, but for years we start up here at the top and then just pull down. If it's wet, we would usually do that, even if it's dry. But what that does over time is, if you're pulling down the knots, you're breaking it as you head down to the ends. And then sometimes you'll notice, I know I used to notice, in the mirror, and I'd see like little breakage, like all the way down through my hair. And I'd be like, what happened there? What caused that? And it turns out that a lot of times it's mechanical damage, mechanical meaning caused by outside sources. So what I do instead is I start from the bottom. And this is one of the priceless tips that I found from a favorite expert of mine. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna link all my favorite content experts that I've learned all of this from. You can go to their pages and they'll explain the science behind everything, all the technical ends of things. I'm just going to show you methods here. So what I've learned from them is, instead of starting at the top and pulling everything down, you start at the bottom. You start at the bottom ever so slightly until you smooth it out. There might be some little snags in there, but you don't move up until it's smoothed out. Then you just kind of hold your hand up again here, continue brushing, hold it up again here, and the thought is that you don't want to be pulling and dragging, which is what causes breakage. Well, as you can see, I have white hair. Most of my hair is grown out now. There's a little bit of it that's left that's brown. That was a process in its own, and I'd be happy to talk about the whole process and share that with you, how I went about growing it out. I was one of those people who swore that I would never let my hair go gray, but things changed, as things sometimes do. But anyway, so this method really works for me. It's made a difference over time, and this method that I'm showing you should also be done when your hair is wet, especially when your hair is wet, because when our hair is wet, it's in its most vulnerable state, and it's the most prone to breakage. So this brush is a great one that I use when it's wet and when it's dry. I use also sometimes this brush here. This one is, what is it called? It's called the Unbrush. And it's very similar in style. It doesn't have those little round pins at the top of the, I don't know what you want to call them, at the top of the bristles. This one though, I do use it mostly on wet hair. So there's that one. And I wanted to show you also this guy here. Now, I was using this one for the longest time and I really did like it. However, I did find that it was probably pulling my hair, and I could not figure out for the life of me what was going on until I learned from one of the experts out there that these pins typically cause that issue. So even though I have it still in my drawer, I don't know, I just haven't parted with it. I don't use it very often at all. I most often reach for this one here. So that's with the brushes there. Really important to keep those techniques in mind. So next I wanted to talk about securing your hair overnight while you sleep. You know, believe it or not, while we sleep, it's really important to, it's very important actually to secure it in a protective type of style. Protective meaning you want to protect your hair from being just like, you know, splayed out everywhere as you sleep, because we know that when we sleep, we toss, we turn, and our hair is, you know, getting tossed and fro also, and it's being rubbed against and it breaks. And especially if you're on a cotton pillow, which will lead me to, will come up on the whole satin pillowcases. So first of all, you know, when you're ready for bed, you brush your hair out using the technique I shared. What you want to do is you want to secure your hair in, like I said, in a protective style. So that can be anything from a silk scrunchie, and I emphasize silk scrunchie. I don't use anything other than these little silk scrunchies, because those plastic coated rubber bands, any other type of hair ties that I know of, do lend to breakage, you know, once you pull them off. But these silk scrunchies, they won't do you wrong. They're great. So what you can do is you can simply put your hair in a silk scrunchie, and see, it's just like that here, and you can just twist it around. That's what I do. I twist it around and I just kind of tuck it in, and that a lot of times is what I'll do to sleep. One extra step, if you want to go a little step further, is before you secure your hair in the tie, you can put a little hair oil on your ends. There's so many different types of hair oils out there. The one that I really like using is called Virtue Hair Oil. It's a reparative hair oil. It could be a little bit pricey, but the thing is I only use it at night when I, you know, secure my hair. I'll put it in on the ends here, and then I'll secure my hair. And you know, that's the only time I use it. I don't use it during the day or after styling because it's so expensive. I want to make it last. And so here's an alternative hair oil though. Here's one that I have been using recently and it's very economical. It's argan oil, Moroccan argan oil. And you know, what you do with this one is, like I said, you can just spray your ends, you know, very lightly here, distribute it through your ends, the other side too, you know, just very lightly. And then, you know, put your hair up in the scrunchie, in the tie. One of the other methods that I really like using with the scrunchie, and it kind of serves two purposes. It protects your hair from, you know, all the tossing and turning and friction. What you can do is you can put your hair up into what they call a pineapple bun. So you'll pull all your hair up. I mean, it's really hard for me to do it here, but you would pull all your hair up to the very top, you know, as forward as you can, even more forward than you would think. And depending on the length of your hair, if it's medium length to shorter length, you can just leave it. You can just leave the top. So you literally look like you have a little pineapple on your head. It's really cute. But if your hair is longer, and what I do sometimes is when I put it up on the top of my hair, on my head, I'll put a little hair oil on it once it's in the ponytail. I think I just like wrap this around twice. And once it's sitting up there, I'll get the hair and I'll twist it around and I'll just secure it in around the scrunchie. And then what I'll do is the hair that's twisted around, it might seem like it's a little loose. I get these little, these small little hair cloth combs, and I'll just secure them, you know, on the hair. Now imagine though that it's wrapped around on top of my head, and I'll secure those and they stay really well. And so what that does is in the morning, because your hair is pulled up on the top of your head, and mind you, you got to do it loosely because you never want to have a tight, anything tight as you sleep, because you don't want your hair pulling for 7-8 hours at night, and that'll cause breakage. But what it does in the morning is when you let it down, because it's been up and it's been swirled around, when you let it down, it just gives you loose curls, loose volume, without even really having to do any curls yourself. It's really nice, it's really convenient, and that's been a real game changer for me. There's that method, and then there's also, well, I mean, if you have your hair up in the scrunchie and you really want to protect it, what you can do is you can wear a silk bonnet over it, and that'll protect your little pineapple on top of your head, and it won't go anywhere. These are really cute. They come in all different types of colors, reversible. And the thing is when your hair rubs up against, you know, silk, there's absolutely no breakage involved whatsoever. And there's, I don't know, studies that prove that silk actually does benefit your hair. So there's that. There's also this cutie. This bonnet it's a little more serious. So you would do this. Oh, it kind of looked like a baker there. You kind of do that, you tie it around, you know, tie it around the front here. But you would normally wear this guy if you're wearing, if you're doing the overnight, fix my hair here, overnight blowout rods. Now, that's the one that gives me the most body, the most curl overnight. I used it for months on end when I was trying to reduce the amount of heat I was using on my hair. So after I would wash my hair, I'd go through the whole routine, and I can go through that with you if you like on a separate video. Let me know if you like that in the comments. After I do the whole wash routine, blow dry my hair, kind of give myself a blowout, you know, with round brush blowout, so there's already body. Once there's already body there, then I will put these in. This is the overnight blowout rods. And I usually use 2. There are, they look like this here. And so I do have to admit there's a bit of a learning curve here. But I can tell you, once you get the hang of it, I don't know, I didn't want to go back. I loved it. I loved the outcome. I loved the fact that I didn't have to style my hair in the morning. It left it curly, bouncy, not curly, or bouncy, big waves. And I was saving on the health of my hair. So I can absolutely do a tutorial showing you how to wear these. There's a few different ways. If you were to buy these from the Overnight Blowout site, Overnight Blowout provides instruction videos, the whole thing. They have great support, and I'll leave a link there in the description for these blowout rods too. So that pretty much does cover it, what I wanted to talk about tonight. I have all these things here. Let me put them over here aside. One of the things I forgot to mention was it is dry shampoo. So dry shampoo is for me, it's very convenient, because what I try to do is I try to limit the amount of times a week that I wash my hair. And it's not necessarily because or shampoo is bad for your hair. I mean, that's a whole other video. But it's more because I want to lessen the amount of times that I have to blow dry my hair and flat iron my hair. So in between washes at night, before I put my hair up, and whether it's the ponytail, the pineapple, scrunchie on top, or the overnight blowout, can't talk, I'll usually spray a little, I'll part my hair, you know, I'll get a couple of different parts, and I'll spray the dry shampoo in between those parts, you know, on the side here, in the back, I'll part it, I'll spray it in the back, and I'll add a little oil to the ends, and then I'll put up my hair in the method that I'm gonna wear my hair, you know, to bed that night. And I will sleep also on silk pillowcases. And if you're not sleeping on a silk pillowcase, you're missing out. Your hair is missing out. Makes all the difference. Makes all the difference in your hair, in your skin even, your skincare products. The silk pillowcases won't soak up the products the way the cotton pillowcases do. So cotton pillowcases are soaking up your, you know, your moisturizer, whatever products you're wearing overnight, soaking up the oil in your hair, and as you're moving around, it's, you know, rubbing against the cotton, which is unforgiving and will over time just cause breakage. So that's pretty much it. I look over here to the side because I'm looking at my notes. I'm a little nervous still, as you can tell. This is my second video. And did I tell you I'm happy you're here? I'm happy you're here. And I suppose that pretty much just wraps it up for tonight. I am so happy to be able to share these things with you guys. I have so much more to share. And I have a wash routine if you'd like me to show you my wash routine, my blowout routine. I'd be so happy to do that. I just have so many things in mind that I want to share with you guys. And if you're willing to show up, I'm willing to talk. So anyhow, I think that's going to be a wrap. Everybody take care out there, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.